In 1957, in Colorado, Hope is calling someone from a payphone at the Lake Alpine camp. She says she found the number carved into the ice in strange dreams she's been having. But when she tries to ask who she's talking to, all she hears is static. The noise suddenly gets louder, so she hangs up. You're watching CineDigest, and this is Movie Recapped. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome stories. Then in 1982, in Denver, Finney is beating up a new kid at school. The kid begs him to stop, and Finney only does when his sister, Gwen, screams at him. Later, Gwen asks what happened, and he says the kid started it. It's clear Finney's got a tough reputation after he took down a serial killer known as the Grabber 4 years ago. Right then, Ernie, the brother of one of the Grabber's victims, comes over and asks Gwen to go to a music concert with him. She agrees. That night, Finney can't sleep, so he steps out for a smoke and remembers what happened years ago. He even imagines the Grabber standing in the yard behind him. Gwen tries to comfort him, but he refuses to talk about it. Meanwhile, at Lake Alpine Camp, Felix arrives with some excited kids ready to play. But suddenly, he runs into the woods, and the Grabber chases after him. Felix falls, and the Grabber seizes the moment, slashing him open with a knife and killing him. He throws the body into the frozen lake, and Felix scratches the letter W into the ice. At that moment, Gwen wakes up. It was all just a nightmare. She hears the phone ringing, opens the door, and sees something strange outside. But Finney wakes her up, telling her she was sleepwalking again. Gwen tries to tell him she had a nightmare, but he tells her to go back to bed. The next day, she looks through the school library for anything about the supernatural, but the other girls mock her, calling her a witch. Ernie shows up with concert tickets and tells her he doesn't think she's weird for believing in those things, showing her his grandma's tarot cards. Ernie tells her he knows her dreams helped the police find the Grabber's victims' bodies. Gwen feels uncomfortable, but he reassures her, saying he likes weird things. After school, Finney goes to the supermarket and hears a payphone ringing. He answers quickly, saying, "Sorry, I can't help you," then hangs up. Later, we find out that the phone doesn't even work. Back at Lake Alpine, Cal joins the camp activities and makes lots of friends. One night in the forest, the Grabber attacks him with an axe, chopping him to pieces. Some of his remains are burned, and the rest are dumped into the lake. Cal's ghost scratches the letter B next to the W, and Gwen wakes up terrified after hearing the phone ring. It's another nightmare. She climbs out of bed and is shocked to see Cal's dead body in the yard. Panicking, she grabs her bike and rides to the Grabber's old house, crawling into the basement through a small window. There, she finds a black phone. When she answers, she hears Hope's voice from the past, the same scene we saw in the beginning. Hope realizes Hope was having the same dreams, but instead of letters, the boy carved numbers. She tries to learn more, but static cuts off the call. When she turns around, she sees the ghost of the Grabber's brother, who tells her she shouldn't be there. The basement door creaks open, and the phone starts ringing again. Someone walks down the stairs, but it's just Finney looking for his sister. Gwen tells him she talked to Hope, who turns out to be their mother when she was young. Finney doesn't believe her, says she was just dreaming, spits on the ground, and walks away. The next day, Gwen finds a flyer for Lake Alpine Camp and says they should go there as counselors to investigate. Finney refuses. Their father Terrence overhears them and says he knows the place. His wife used to work there. The camp shut down in 1958, and he says he's never liked Christian camps anyway. Later, Gwen convinces Ernie to go with her, and Finney, who doesn't like Ernie, decides to tag along to protect her. After hours of driving through the snow, visibility gets bad, so Finney tells Ernie to stop the car while he walks ahead to guide them. They're soon met by Mustang, who leads them to the camp with a flashlight. At the camp, they meet Mustang's uncle, Armando, the camp director. He says the kids won't arrive until tomorrow since the roads are still blocked by the storm. On the way to the cabins, Finney spots a payphone, while Gwen goes to the girls' dorm and Finney and Ernie take the boys' room.
The place is completely empty. Gwen falls asleep fast and dreams another nightmare from the past about a boy named Spike who was in the camp's marching band and also died. He carves the letter H next to the others before his face splits in half. Gwen wakes up in a panic, hearing digging sounds from under her bed. Meanwhile, Finney's outside smoking when he hears the payphone ring. Every time he approaches it, the ringing stops. When he walks away, it starts again. He finally picks up, says, "I can't help you," and hangs up, but the phone rings again, louder this time. He answers and hears the grabber's voice saying, "How you doing, Finney?" Finney slams the phone down, but the cabin door locks, trapping him inside. The voice returns, "Hell isn't fire, hell is ice, because nothing burns like the cold." In the girls' room, Gwen looks under the bed and sees Felix's ghost. She's horrified, but then Cal appears and grabs her arm, burning her skin. Panicking, she sees Spike crash through the window, his face splitting in half. Gwen screams, and at the same time, the cabin door bursts open. Finney rushes in to wake her. She's shaking and says she's going crazy. He calms her down, tends to her burn, and she asks to sleep next to Ernie because she's too scared to be alone. She prays for protection from her nightmares. Ernie overhears her. They talk about faith, grow closer, but Finney interrupts and tells them to get some sleep. The next morning, Finney argues with Gwen for telling Ernie everything, but she shows him her burn and insists it's all real. At breakfast, Armando scolds her for sleeping in the boys' cabin and asks why they're even there. They show him Hope's photo, and Armando recognizes her, getting emotional when he learns that she died 7 years ago. He tells them to call home from the office phone, but when Finney mentions the payphone, Armando says it's been broken for over 10 years. Suddenly, the phone rings again. Finney rushes to answer and hears a boy's voice saying he's cold and they shouldn't be there. The 3 ghost kids appear around him. The voice begs for help, but he can't remember much. The ghosts pound on the cabin walls, then vanish as soon as Finney hangs up. Meanwhile, their dad Terrence calls Gwen to check on her, worried about the storm, and says he's trying to borrow a snowplow. At camp, Gwen and Ernie meet Kenneth and Barbara from the staff. They ask about the camp's history. Kenneth says there are only a few flyers left, while Barbara rudely mocks Gwen for sleeping with the boys and snaps at them. When they ask about the dead kids, she says respectable Christians don't talk about things like that. That night, Gwen dreams of Hope answering the phone, talking to the 3 boys who beg for help. She sees Felix's ghost near the woods and follows him, but he vanishes as red feathers fall from the sky. She finds Felix's jacket and sees Spike staring at her, then an axe hits a tree and blood starts dripping down. She wakes up to the sound of a door slamming and glimpses her mother's spirit watching her. She goes outside and sees Felix again, so she follows him. Meanwhile, Finney hears the payphone ringing and tells Ernie to stay with Gwen while he checks it out. But Gwen keeps following Felix. The grabber calls Finney saying he's back for revenge and will destroy everyone he loves because Finney made him kill his own brother. Ernie runs off to find Gwen but can't. Gwen reaches the kitchen and the fight begins. The grabber attacks her with an axe and she desperately fights back. He knocks her down and starts choking her, but Ernie and the others rush in. They only see Gwen being thrown around by an invisible force. Her body lifts into the air as the grabber tries to throw her into the furnace. Ernie grabs her legs, and with Mustang's help, they pull her away. The grabber vanishes. After Finney wakes her up, everyone gathers in the church, and Gwen tells them about the kids she saw in her dreams. Armando says he's been searching for them his whole life and shows them an old photo of the camp. Finney recognizes the grabber. He used to work there under the name Wild Bill Hickok.
Gwen realizes the letters she saw were his initials. That's where it all started. Armando says the strange events began 4 years ago, and Finney realizes that's when he killed the grabber, meaning his spirit returned here. Gwen explains that the grabber feeds on fear, and the children's souls won't rest until their bodies are found. The police never searched the lake because it was frozen, but Armando remembers Bill had ice fishing gear, meaning he could have cut holes in the ice. They plan to search the lake in the morning. That night, Armando hears strange noises and sees an ice sculpture outside. The radio turns on by itself, playing the grabber's voice. "You made me kill my brother." Armando replies, "You won't keep those kids forever." The lights go out, and he sees the grabber's bloody, icy face on the window. In the morning, they search the lake, but find nothing. That night, Finny and Ernie decide to stay awake and guard Gwen while she sleeps. She dreams of a newspaper boy named Billy, the grabber's first victim. Hope sees the same scene in her dream and recognizes him. In real life, Gwen starts sleepwalking again, and Ernie puts her back in bed. She dreams of her mother, Hope, walking to the grabber's house and finding a boy locked in the basement, but then getting captured herself. The grabber appears and forces Gwen into his car, saying he brought her to learn the truth before the end. He drives her home, where she sees her mother's body hanging in the garage, revealing the grabber killed her and made it look like suicide. Gwen cries, and her father finds her in tears. The grabber pulls out his axe and chases her into the basement. The black phone rings. Felix tells her to hide. She runs into the bathroom and finds a small hole leading to a door. She tries to open it, but it's locked. The grabber slices her arm with the axe. She's bleeding in real life, too. Ernie tries to wake her up. Finally, she manages to open the door and escape, running toward the frozen lake, hearing her friends' voices calling her. Armando finds Felix's body and breaks through the ice, but the grabber drags him into the freezing water. Gwen, trapped in a cabin, keeps pounding on the door, unknowingly hitting Finny as he tries to wake her up. The grabber smashes the window, choking her with the phone cord. Her body levitates, blood fills the room, until Mustang throws cold water on her face, but nothing works. The kids' voices in her dreams say, "Fight back." Suddenly, the cabin explodes, launching the grabber away. Gwen declares she has power inside the dream too. She slams the grabber in the face before waking up. Everyone rushes to the lake and pulls Armando out. He confirms he found Felix, so they decide to continue searching the next day. When they get back to camp, they're shocked to see their dad arriving with a snowplow. Finny wants to leave, but Gwen refuses, saying she needs to finish what she started. She calls them out for running from their trauma instead of facing it, and they agree to help her. The next day, they search for more bodies, but suddenly Gwen falls asleep again. The grabber appears on the ice, attacking the crew. Kenneth gets injured, Barbara's face smashes into the ice, and the grabber swings his axe at everyone. Gwen sees barrels under the ice, 2 more bodies inside. The grabber breaks through the surface and strangles Finny with a belt, but their dad jumps into the freezing water to save him. Gwen starts praying, freeing the boys' souls. The spirits rise from the ice, dragging the grabber down. Gwen hits him with the axe, Finny finishes him off, and he sinks beneath the lake as the spirits pull him down below. Gwen wakes up, kisses Ernie, and Armando calls the victims' families to tell them their children have finally been found. Gwen hears the payphone ringing again, answers, and hears her mother's voice thanking her for saving the kids. She tells her that dreams aren't a curse, and says she loves her before the line goes dead. Gwen tells Finny what her mom said, and the siblings finally walk away with their father, at peace at last. And that's the end of today's movie. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to CineDigest for more amazing stories with Movie Recapped.